if you don't know me, you would know that for many years I've lived in Norfolk. I've now lived in Norfolk 15 years. And actually for about 12 or 13 of those I continued to work in Essex. So I commuted down the A12, the M25, and that was interesting. And I've often, I thought all those years of commuting, shift work, working away, they've all got a bit of a sort of a spiritual aspect to them. They've all got life lessons. And I'm thinking that one day I'll write that book, the one that's like about, you know, what it's like to try and be sort of in the right place in your head when you're commuting, when you're being away from home, when you're a shift worker. But this morning, yeah, specifically, I'm just honing in one part of that, and that's that commuting. Now, commuting, I'll tell you what, sometimes it was hard. Sometimes, like, I would finish a night shift and in Thurrock and have to drive back here, and it was like the only thing that I'd want to do would be to go to sleep, and actually the thing that I have to do now is to drive 97 miles home, and that was quite tough at times, and actually those very difficult times in that car, those times when I was very frustrated, there was road rage moments, believe it or not, and there were many sort of really sort of difficult moments. There was times though, actually, I know, when I really enjoyed that time. One of actually a very important thing about my life is that when I first moved to Norfolk, I started driving to work at like 4:00ish in the morning, and there's nothing on the radio, really, and it's like one of those situations where, right, there's nothing to listen to. It's sort of like, what do I do? And I wasn't following Jesus, I wasn't a Christian, and it was at that point that really I started a conversation with God. And I've often said people have said to me about me and my wife, like, why are we, the way we are, and I said, how have we lasted? And one of the things with that is because we started a conversation in about 1993 that we haven't finished yet. And the same actually, I mean, I started this conversation with God in about 2015, and hopefully that's going to keep on going for the rest of my days. So there was some very good days, times in my driving experience. There was plenty of audio books I really enjoyed. There was sermons, there was podcasts. There's plenty to keep you occupied. And as I said, that time with God. And actually, this is the thing is, that in general, it's the same experience. I was going from A to B. But depending on where I was at would, depend on my response to what was going on around me. So the fact, as I said there, about being tired first thing in the morning and just wanting to go home and wanting to drive down that road. You drive down the road and somebody cuts you up and you're really tired. And of course, my response is that I want to hurt that person. So, or the thing is, of course, I'm late at work, I'm late for work, and I'm driving, and of course everybody's then driving really slowly, and my response is not the most positive. And I could say, the times when I left from home and there was something happening here, or the times I was coming home, there was something happening here, and there's a worry, there's all these different things. What I'm generally getting at here is that the way I responded to my journey seemed to be very dependent on what else was going on in my life. I'd be really, general thing is there, I'd be inconsistent. I'm late, I'm angry. I'm not late, isn't it lovely driving? And that can be it's a metaphor, isn't it? There's the deal here that actually in life, the fact is that as we go along in life, there is so many things that are happening around us. We're so impacted by so much that is happening around us that it affects how we respond, how consistent we are. That's why I've done this sort of consistency. See what I've done there? And the deal is that it says in Hebrews, book of Hebrews there, it says Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today and forever. I find a real solace in that. The fact is, I think if God had bad days, I think I would have been smited a few times by now. But the fact is, he doesn't. He's consistent. God is consistent. He loves me the same every day. He shows the same mercy. The reality is that he is consistent. He doesn't have favourites. In the book of John, I love that, good name. But the deal is with John, is he talks all the way through it. He talks about this situation where he says, the disciple Jesus loved. And everyone's like, it's John. John's like going on about, because Jesus loved me more. But I mean, I really got that, because it's this reality, isn't it? There's a thing there that if you in a relationship with Jesus, the fact is actually you think he loves you. Quite often I think he loves me more than you lot. But that's how it feels. And I think when John says that in his book, he's saying that same thing. He's saying that's how my relationship with Jesus was this, that he loved me. And so, but the fact is that that's a consistent experience for anybody who comes into a relationship with him. God is consistent. Jesus, it's consistency. And that's the big point I'm just trying to make today, this morning for us. That's our aim. That's our challenge, is to be consistent. Going back to my wonderful driving analogy, the fact is that, as I said there, if I left early for work, if I had enough time, if I was well rested, if I everything was nice and peaceful at home, we live in hope. In all of that, and then I'd go out to drive in lovely weather, then I'm sure I would enjoy my experience driving. But there's an element there, isn't there? Looking after myself. So this is the challenge, isn't it? And it comes with a question. It's what can we do ourselves? What can we do ourselves to help us be more consistent in living our lives? And it's the very simple things that we hear about. If you've ever watched mental health stuff on YouTube, and sometimes things we've said before, what can we do? We make sure we're well rested. We make sure we have time. Making sure you have time. You can get caught up in scrolling through Facebook, but what have we got time for? And so that's my challenge. It's my little call out for us all today, and especially to me. God's consistent. What can we do to be more consistent in the way we respond to life? And you know what? That will even have an impact on the way we drive our cars, especially if you continue to be a commuter, which I gladly am not now. So, have a lovely day. Been great to be here. Bye now. I say bye. I'll get there in a minute.